I'd like to call a meeting of Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 to order, acting under the provisions of the Code of the Town of Barnstable, Chapter 112-1 through 112-7. The Historical Commission will hold a public hearing on the following applications. The following applications have been determined significant and referred to the public hearing. This meeting of the Barnstable Historical Commission is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. Anyone doing that? I see no one doing that. Okay, thank you. We ask that during the afternoon's proceedings, cell phones be turned off and conversations other than those before the commission take place outside this remote meeting. When an application is called, we ask the applicant and all interested parties and abutters to please identify themselves. Lastly, as a best practice for meetings held remotely, where we may not be able to see and visually identify who is speaking, we ask all commission members and participants to identify themselves before making any motion or comment, which is hard to remember, but we'll work at it. Online audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of a hearing can use the raise hand button to notify the chair. Dial-in audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of a hearing should press *9 on their phone to notify the chair. All participants will be muted. You must be recognized by the chair to participate. Our first order of business is to take a roll call of attendance. Mr. Clerk, if you would be so kind as to do that, I would be appreciative.
Certainly. Nancy Shoemaker.
Here.
I don't see Cheryl Powell, but I call her name. Jack Kay.
Present.
Barbara DiBiase.
Here.
Andrew Fisher.
Here.
Bob Frazee.
Here.
And John Richmond here.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Our first application is Leslie McKenzie Trust, 29 Coolidge Street, Katuitt, map 035, parcel 038, built 1920. Demolish the shed outbuilding and then partial demolition of the dwelling to construct new attached garage addition. And I would like to ask for a motion to open a public hearing, please.
Jack
So
Kay,
moved.
so moved.
And a second.
Seconded.
All righty. And Mr. Clerk, would you please get the vote on that? It needs to be roll call since we're in Zoom.
There. Okay. Nancy Shoemaker.
Here.
Jack.
Aye.
So present.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, right. Jack Kay.
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase.
Aye.
Andrew Fisher.
Aye.
Bob Frazee.
Aye.
John Richmond. Aye.
Very good. Ms. McKenzie and representatives, please let us know what you have up your sleeves.
Hi, my name is Kyle Martin. I'm going to be the general contractor on the job. I guess Miss McKenzie's not here, but
No, I'm on.
She's
hi,
here.
how
There
are
you
you?
go.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No,
So-
I'm here.
Pop back.
But you start, Kyle. Thank you.
So what we really would like to do is tear down the existing shed that's there and replace it with a garage. But the only part of the existing dwelling that we would really touch is just the right side of the door where we would be connecting the garage to the existing house, and it would be technically a roof over the existing house. We're not going to change any part of the existing house, just continue that roof line straight across to match the other side.
Right. Okay. That seems pretty clear. Ms. McKenzie, do you have anything that you particularly wanted to say at this point about it? Or, I mean, it looks fairly straightforward, but I just want to give you a chance to
No,
speak.
Kyle described it perfectly. It
Mhm.
just affects the dilapidated shed.
Sure. Well, that's all right. My understanding from staff research is that the shed to be demolished is not over 75 years of age anyway, and therefore we really have no dog in that hunt. It's not part of our jurisdiction, which is fine. What we do care about and show concern for always with this kind of a situation is the impact of the modified whatever it is would be west end, I guess, of the older building, the 1920s parent structure. And, Kyle just explained what is involved there. We can see in the drawing the reveal of the impact on the facade of the overall structure. Commissioners, do any of you have any comments or questions or thoughts about this?
No.
I'm not seeing anyone leaping into action here, and that's okay.
Hey, Bob,
Yes, Jack.
in this proposed front elevation,
Mhm.
I noticed that the garage doors seem to be substantially lower than the bottom of the wall. Is
No, that's a
that
good,
floor recessed?
No, the floor will, I don't know why it's drawn that way, to be honest with you. There's the grade drop probably from the front left corner of what we call the cabin to the property line. It probably drops about 2 feet to 2.5 feet in
Mhm.
elevation. But for the most part, you're going to have to come out of the side door and go up the stairs to go into the door of the house, because we don't want to raise this ridge line above the existing cabin, we call it. And to do that, we have to drop everything down. There will be no problem with water
Got
or
it.
anything like that. It's just because, so we're limited on height. Even the doors are limited to their size.
Sure.
And we're doing it for the appearance, so it doesn't look like it sticks up above the existing house.
So in fact, the way it's drawn isn't necessarily inaccurate. There will be a grade
Right.
difference of the sill plate, so to say, or the slab, if that's what you'll have
Right.
under the garage, versus the sill plate of the cabin, which will be a
Yes.
little higher. Okay, that's fine.
Unlike a traditional thing, we have to start at the top and come down for elevation so that we can not change the roof line.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I see why Jack asked the question, but it makes sense. I drove out there today. I didn't, with the snow and stuff, it's a little tricky to
Yeah.
see grade differences as relatively slight as 2 feet from the corner of your cabin all the way to the boundary line, but I understand what you're saying. It's nice, in my view, that what you're adding on doesn't literally overwhelm the rest of the building. It kind of is more of what's already there in some ways. At least that's my impression.
That's the look
Any
we were
other-
trying to achieve. Yes.
Right.
you.
We didn't touch the wall of the outside of the cabin as
Mhm.
Kyle's reference so that we could maintain the interior integrity even of that.
Sure,
Yes,
yeah, I
Rob.
noticed the planning doesn't change in the cabin in the plan. Any other questions from commissioners? Any other thoughts? Any member of the public here to speak on this or talk to us about this?
Sure, this is Erica Brown. I do not see anyone wishing to speak to this item at this time.
Okay, and did we have any correspondence on this? I don't believe that we did.
No, we did not.
Okay. Well, if everybody's had a chance to think about it and speak, I'd welcome a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll do that. Nancy Shoemaker.
And a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Andrew. And John, would you please call the vote for that?
Okay, all in favor of closing the public hearing? Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
John Richmond, aye.
All righty. We are ready for a vote, or motions rather, for a vote. Would somebody who has a copy be willing to read the motions for this one?
Sure, motion one.
Oh, thank you, John.
All right. I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building, 29 Coolidge Street, Katuitt, is a preferably preserved significant building.
And a second, please.
Seconded.
Thank you, Andrew. An aye vote will impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. And a vote, sir.
Okay. Nancy Shoemaker,
Nay.
Jack Kay,
Nay.
Barbara DiBiase,
Nay.
Andrew Fisher,
Nay.
Bob Frazee,
Nay.
John Richmond, nay.
Great.
All right, so our next motion. I move that in accordance with section 112-3G, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the preferably preserved significant building located at 29 Coolidge Street.
Hang on, are we reading the correct motion?
No, I'm not.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm not.
112-3F.
I
I'm
wasn't
sorry.
thinking quick enough to interrupt you
Sorry,
sooner. Sorry.
instant reset.
That's good. I
Okay,
move that.
I now move, so strike that. I now move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located at 29 Coolidge Street, Katuitt, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
And a
I'll
second,
second
please.
that. Nancy Shoemaker.
Thank you, Nancy. John, the vote, sir.
All right. Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
John Richmond, aye.
Excellent. You are set to go.
All right. Thank you very
Good
much
luck
for
with
your
your
time.
project.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all for coming in. We appreciate it very
Have a
much.
great
Thank
day.
you. Thanks
You
for
too.
your time and attention.
All righty. Our next property, our next application is George and Bettina Abe, 83 Edge Hill Road, Hyannis, map 287, parcel 102, built 1944. Partial demolition of rear deck and living room addition and construct new addition to the rear of the home. Demolish 1975 garage. And if we could have a motion to open a public hearing, please,
I move,
We open a public hearing.
in a second.
I'll second that.
And John, a quick vote on that, please.
Okay. Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.
Excellent. Thank you. And who do we have here to talk with us about this?
Good afternoon. Paul Muldoon here from SV Design, representing George and Bettina Abe and their project at 83 Edge Hill Road. Happy to go right into the description.
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
The street view, as you can see here in the top left and top right images, are a stately gambrel house. This house is clad in natural cedar shingles, painted trim, asphalt roof shingle. It sits approximately 2.5 stories above the street. And as the property bends back down towards the rear imagery that you're seeing, there's a few existing structures on the back of the structure, which are intended to be removed and essentially rebuilt. The main gambrel house is dating back to 1944. And the structures on the back are sometime between 1980 and 1990, about 45 years old. These spaces consist of a lower level walkout basement, a first floor living room space that is surrounded on 3 sides by a deck structure, a small bump out on the second floor and deck structure, and then a balcony up on that uppermost level. The proposed project here is really to remove those additions and rebuild them in a very similar location. And in fact, if you can go back one to H1.1, we can start at the front elevation. You'll see here that the gambrel, the historic part of the structure, remains untouched. There's no change in the visual from the street view from the public way. If we go to the next sheet, on this western view, this eastern view, you can see that the main gambrel and the L that goes along with it, again, remains, back one more, there you go, remains untouched. Now, you can see the outline of the existing on the top elevation and those bump outs and how they step down towards the lower grade. We're mimicking that strategy, and then introducing this rooflet and railing system to define the 3 heights and 3 spaces as they work their way in the back of the property. Now, again, these additions are very, very difficult, if not impossible, to see from the public way. Even from roads down below, looking back up, it's very, very challenging. The rear elevation here facing south, again, there's this hierarchy of stacked boxes, both in the existing and in the proposed, and our proposed detailing is just slightly different. Part of our thoughts and consistency here include a strategy for historic preservation and historic renovation, that the main historic elements remain defined and prominent. And here our gambrel house with this small L on the side of it certainly remain prominent, and the structures and details of this new addition remain slightly different than those, so that there is a separation and a definition between the original gambrel home and our additions to the rear. The garage is part of the project. The existing garage that sits on the left side of the property looking from Edge Hill. It's about a 1970 structure. It will be removed and rebuilt just further back in the property, pushing it again further away from the public view on Edge Hill, but it'll be a very similar garage space in the final result. With that, I'm happy to answer any particular questions.
That's great. Thank you, Paul. That was a really good presentation. Again, I was there just today, and I would completely concur with everything you just said about what's visible and what's not, and from what directions. It's a unique site and a
very
cool
so.
building. Commissioners, any questions or thoughts here?
Is that door being moved? It looks like it was
Down
moved
at the bottom level?
Yes.
Yes, there's some heights and structures within the garage itself that are encouraging us to slide the door over for a safer passage into the garage. Again, that is the rear facing elevation, completely out of the public view.
Right. Exactly. Anyone else? Any thoughts? Are there any members of the public here to speak on this subject at all?
This is Erica Brown. I do not see anyone from the public wishing to make comment at this time.
Okay, thank you. And I don't believe we had any written comments from the public. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. No, I honestly am quite impressed with the strategy for this, and relieved at how much of the original is still there. I know it's a sensitive neighborhood, always has been, and will continue to be. And I think if everyone's happy, we could get a motion to close the public hearing and move on to a vote. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion to close the public hearing. This is Barbara.
Thank you. And second?
Seconded.
Thank you very much, Andrew. All righty. Mr. Clerk, please, a roll call vote for closing the public hearing.
All right, Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.
Great. Thank you. John, you want to do the honors again for the motion?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be
All
great.
right, motion one. I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building, 83 Edge Hill Road, Hyannis, is a preferably preserved significant building.
And a second, please.
I'll second that.
I'll
Thank
second.
you, Barbara.
Yes,
Well, you can compete. That's fine. An aye vote will impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. Roll call vote, sir.
Okay, once again, Nancy Shoemaker,
Nay.
Jack Kay,
Nay.
Barbara DiBiase,
Nay.
Andrew Fisher,
Nay.
Bob Frazee,
Nay.
and John Richmond, nay.
Great. And down to the green one.
Well, actually, mine is black and white.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry. Well, the bottom
I
one.
try not to make the same mistake twice.
Well, I very
Only that
often
was
do.
true
so-
for the rest of my life. All right, I move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located 83 Edge Hill Road, Hyannis, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
And a second, please.
I'll
second
second
it.
that, Jack.
Thank you, Jack. And then a roll call vote. An aye vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family structure is not detrimental and no demolition delay will be imposed.
Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.
Very good.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate your
Mr.
efforts
Muldoon,
here.
thank you so much. Can I ask you two questions quickly?
Yes,
Did I
sir.
pronounce the applicant's last name correctly? Is it Abe?
Abe.
Abe. Okay, good for me. And
Good job.
um, is Bettina Abe related to the late Joan Dabney Waters?
Yes, that was my mom.
Oh, cool. I knew her very well. She was a sweetheart. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were there. I just wanted
Oh,
to call that out and say it's nice to be back in the neighborhood again a little bit.
wow. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you guys for coming in. We appreciate
Take
it.
care.
Thank you, all of you commissioners.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Cheers.
Thank you.
All righty. Our next application, 103 Long Beach Road LLC, 103 Long Beach Road, Centerville, map 205, parcel 017, built 1948. Partial demolition of the dwelling to construct new dormer, expand second floor bathroom, and rear covered porch. Fully demolish existing 1948 garage, relocate and construct a new FEMA compliant structure. Could we have a motion to open a public hearing on this, please?
I move to open the public hearing.
Thank you, Andrew. In a second.
Second that, Jack.
Thank you, Jack. And John, could you please call a roll for a vote on that?
Sure. Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and John Richmond. Aye.
Great. Thank you very much. Someone here to present this application, perhaps?
Excuse me. Yeah, I'm here. My name is Randy Byrne. I'm with Chilton Development Company.
Welcome.
We are the general contractor working with Stephen and Wendy D'Angelo on the project.
Mhm.
We're looking to, as you said, modify the existing home. The D'Angelos really want to keep the integrity of the house and not be in a position where they would be forced to take the house down and raise it significantly to comply with FEMA. So we're
Right.
trying to keep the renovations as modest as we can, but also to be able to give them some more room for them and their extended growing family. So the first part of the project, which is what you have on the screen now, is trying to expand the second floor. So we've added a dormer to the front of the building, which helps expand some headroom in the stairwell and also increase the master bedroom square footage a little bit. The next slide down is a little more significant. You can see at some point, and we don't know if it's original, it seems like it's not original, that right-hand section in the back is a covered porch area that's interior to the house. So we intend to kind of, and then what that does is on the second floor, the bedroom is where that little dormer is, has very low headroom. So the intention is to remove the porch currently and replace it with a new foundation and a new two-story structure that kind of helps improve the first floor circulation as well as increase the headroom in the bedroom above. And then also during this part, because we're taking the porch away and making that more interior first floor space, we're adding that covered porch area to the left, which will also have access from the primary bedroom on the second floor. So that's what you're seeing in that elevation. The next two slides really are just a side view of the same thing. You can see how that funny roof line on the second floor of the existing kind of gets improved with the new dormering. And again, we're trying to keep as much of the old integrity of the old building as we can, but trying to modernize it as much as we can. The building has very low ceilings on both floors, so that's been a little bit of a challenge to date. So that's basically the main building. Also part of the project is we have the existing garage, again, which has probably been modified many times over the years, but this garage goes underwater a couple times a year. I was out there one time, it was probably 3 feet underwater.
That's exciting.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You can't even drive down Long Beach at some point. So the plan here, and right now the garage sits zero lot line. It sits right on the street
Yeah.
property line, and it also sits right along the right-hand property line of the parcel. So you can see that utility pole in the picture is literally the lot corner. So it's right there. So the idea is the first slide is the site plan, if you want to look at that. So the idea right now is to push the garage back off the street in line with the current driveway stone wall that's there now, and then also push it off the lot line about 5 or 6 feet. And what that does, when we went to zoning Board of Appeals because we need to get relief for the setbacks, but we're also improving the sight lines between the buildings now, because now you can kind of see out to the water by moving the garage. So we have approval from zoning and conservation for this plan that you have on the screen now. So the building, if you go back to the elevations again, is FEMA compliant. So, the second floor of this space is quite high. It's about 18 feet above sea level. So that based on the FEMA requirements. So again, we were trying to kind of bring in a lot of the style that we're bringing into the existing house to try to kind of keep roof lines, dormer lines, similar, eave designs to kind of bring the flavor of the house into the new garage structure. And if you go to the last page, you see kind of a little rendering of what it might look like from Long Beach Road. The overhead doors aren't exactly right, but the concept is there of what that would look like. So similar treatments, it'll be the natural cedar siding, similar, like I said, similar trim design, similar rake designs to kind of really tie the buildings together. So that's basically where we are. That's what we're trying to accomplish. The adding the space on the over the garage helps us. We actually remove a bedroom in the house, which opens up the first floor, because right now the first floor is pretty crowded currently.
Okay. Thank you. That's a great presentation.
Thank you.
I want to mention to you and to the commissioners that from a jurisdictional point of view, we have something we need to say or something to say regarding the house itself, which is 75 years of age or older, and regarding the full demolition of the existing garage. But once the existing garage is demolished, it's not a local historic district. We do not have any jurisdiction over what you do next, even though I appreciate the explanation. And I think having a context for the whole project is helpful to all of us to understand what's going on. But I just want to caution everyone not to get too excited about commenting on the new garage, because that's not really part of our purview. Commissioners, any thoughts, any questions?
I have one.
Sure, Jack.
Has this project, is it under the control of DCPC?
Yes, we've been before zoning and have their approval, and we also have approval from Conservation Commission.
Okay, I'm just curious because DCPC wants two walls to be set back on the second floor, and I don't see that on this. So, did you get a variance for that or something like that?
I don't believe we were required to, but I could certainly look into it.
Is that a question regarding the main building, Jack? I'm not sure where about your.
Yeah. Lately, we've had a couple of structures that have come before us, and if they're in the DCPC, they have been required to recess two walls of the second floor 2 feet, which takes 4 feet out of the two on each side is 4 feet. So
Yeah,
we actually had a house right here in Craigville Village that they had to do that, and DCPC required it. And so if we're under the DCPC, I'm surprised that that got through unless it's was given as a variance or something.
Yeah,
Just curious.
Yeah, we're working with the, existing roof line of the house, which does have some relief, I guess. But
Yeah,
it did not come up. What we did have to do is all the expansion square footage all had to fall within the allowable percentages that were given to us based on the existing house.
Mhm.
sure. I think just to cover the base a little bit more broadly and have us not need to be too hung up with this. It's a good question. Now, my impression is architecturally, if you were, say, required to have wall setback or step backs from an aesthetic point of view, usually one of the things we like to see is a break in a long wall or a break between stories or something that defines the different aspects aesthetically of a building, and it would do nothing but improve an appearance factor from our perspective, I would say, than not. But if you don't need to do it from a regulatory perspective outside of our authority, that's exactly what it is. It's outside of our authority, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
the dormer in the current elevation is step back, so the roof
Yeah.
will.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
think the facade modification is actually really nice.
Yeah.
And I want to compliment you for that. I think preserving the facade of the structure on Long Beach Road is awesome. I think in fact, I think it looks better with the dormer than it does without it, if you really want to know the truth. This is my own subjective and personal
Yeah.
opinion. So any other thoughts, commissioners? Questions?
No.
Okay. Anybody from the public wishing to speak about this? I didn't see anyone.
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I do not see anyone wishing to speak to this item at this
Okay.
time.
All right, and I don't believe we had any public comment written on this.
Correct.
I understand fully the whole 3 feet underwater with the garage thing. I forgot that Long Beach Road floods that way, but of course it does. I'm assuming you're gaining a little elevation by moving the garage closer to the house also? Is
A little
that,
bit, because we're pushing it back up onto the existing, there's a retaining wall about 2 feet high that crosses the whole front of the property.
yeah,
So the garage doors will align with that area.
got it.
So it'll probably still go underwater, but at
I
least
was,
it'll be designed properly with the required floodgates and foundations required.
got it, got it. Well, we'll pray for longevity for all structures anyway. That's sort of where we
Right,
kind of have to
right.
be
I mean,
anyhow.
unfortunately, we all know what's coming next with these
No,
houses. So the longer we can preserve them, the better.
absolutely true. I'm not a betting man, so I'm not going to really go there, but it's important.
No, I
As
know.
far as I can tell, we should probably close the public hearing. If I could have a motion to do that, please.
Move that we close the public hearing.
Thank you, Nancy. In a second.
Seconded.
Thank you, Andrew. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the vote on that?
Certainly. Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.
All righty. And then if you wouldn't mind, please reading the motions, John.
Certainly. All right, motion one. I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant buildings, 103 Long Beach Road, Centerville, are preferably preserved significant buildings.
And a second.
I'll second Nancy Shoemaker.
Thank you, Nancy. An aye vote will impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. And it's a roll call vote, sir.
Certainly. Nancy Shoemaker,
Nay.
Jack Kay,
Nay.
Barbara DiBiase,
Nay.
Andrew Fisher,
Nay.
Bob Frazee,
Nay.
John Richmond, nay.
Very good. And the second motion, please.
All right. I move that in accordance with Section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition house and full demolition garage of the buildings located at 103 Long Beach Road, Centerville, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
And a second, please.
I'll second that, Jack.
Thank you, Jack. And an I vote will determine that partial demolition of the single-family structure and full demolition of the garage is not detrimental and no demolition delay will be imposed. And it's a roll call vote one last time, John. Thank you.
Okay, Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
John Richmond, aye.
Very good.
Okay.
Mr. Byrne, thank you very much, sir.
I appreciate your time and effort of the board members. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Thank you for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Take care, bye.
Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
All righty.
Good night, all.
Thank you. You too. Next on our agenda, Mr. Kenny, we have an informal discussion regarding 94 Stevens Street, an update. And I think some of us were around for the original take on this. If you want to do a, super thumbnail sketch review for the sake of one or two new commissioners, it probably wouldn't be a bad context piece, but I'll leave that up to you to decide on your own, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman and members of the Historical Commission, for the record, my name is John Kenny, an attorney with the law office in Centerville. I come before you this afternoon representing 94 Stevens Street LLC. With me are Roberto Maya, Roberto Veloso, and Michelle De Silva, principals of 94 Stevens Street LLC. My clients bought the property back in August of 2023. They entered into a use and occupancy agreement with the First Church of Christ Scientist and allowed them to stay from, who was a seller, from August 2nd, 2023 to July 31st, 2024 for no charge. And there was an option to extend, which the church extended for 2 months. So they ended up vacating on September 30th, 2024. During that time, my client was aware that the church, the middle section of the building was considered to be a historic church. It was originally built in 1902, I believe it was, and moved to Hyannis in 1949. It was built in Cotuit and then moved into Hyannis. My client offered that middle structure to the Hyannis Fire Department directly across the street. He was aware that they were looking for a building for some storage and stuff, and he talked to them, but it did not work out. So we had no place to go with it. So we came before the Historical Commission on November 21st, 2023. And our request was to do a complete demolition of the entire structure. And we went back and forth. We talked about the history of the church, having been built in 1902 in Cotuit, as I said, moved to Hyannis. There was a lengthy discussion about possibly removing portions of the building. I requested a 4-month delay and then an allowance that we be allowed to move forward with a full demolition if we couldn't find somebody to take the building. Bottom line was the Historical Commission voted to impose an 18-month demolition delay, and they encouraged my client to use reasonable efforts to find some place to move the historic portion of the building. We thought we had success with moving that historic portion of the building. We had an arrangement to move it to 25 Lincoln Street in Hyannis and attach it to another church. We're pretty excited about it because it was a church structure. It was going to stay in Hyannis and be attached to another place of worship. So we were instructed to file a new notice of intent, which we filed, and we had a hearing on March 19th, 2024. And we came before you, and the demolition delay was not imposed, and the application was approved for partial demolition and approved to move the historic portion of the structure to 25 Lincoln Street. My client started to work with the church at 25 Lincoln Street, and let's just call it miscommunication, I guess. Our original intent was to remove the structure from our site, relocate it to the property at 25 Lincoln Street, construct a slab for them, provide framing materials, siding, and roofing. The total scope of that work was estimated at approximately $120,000, which my client was willing to do. Over time, additional requests were made to my client. And one of them was he was asked to pay for a new site plan to allow them to redesign, to allow the church on Lincoln Street to redesign its parking lot. And that cost was approximately $10,000. And most recently, they were requested to fully complete the structure, including installation, electrical, HVAC, drywall, and interior finishes. That would increase the total cost of my client to approximately $250,000, which was not what they were willing to do. So our agreement with the church at 25 Lincoln Street unfortunately fell apart. Before coming back to you, we made additional efforts trying to find alternative uses for the historic portion of the facility. I talked with Jim Kupfer, and he informed me that the Riverview School might be able to use the facility down on 35 Scudder Avenue. And I talked to Mike Ford, the attorney for the Riverview School. Mike checked with him and said that they were not interested. But he suggested that perhaps the Irish Village, they might be looking for another structure for storage or whatever other use. I spoke to the owner of the Irish Village. He went and looked at the facility, told me he could not use it, he could not make use of it. Had a couple other ideas, but that kind of fell apart. He had no particular place to go with it. And my client spoke to John Gleason at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center. It was our understanding that they were looking for a bike shed, but there was no interest. Additionally, my client reached out to a couple other builders to see if any of them had any clients that might have interest in having this portion of the church relocated to their site. And unfortunately, we have not been able to find another location to move this historic structure to be reutilized. So we asked to come back to you today because we had the November 2023 vote over 2 years now with the 18-month demolition delay. Then we came back to you in March of 2024 and got approval for a partial demolition with an agreement that we would remove the historic structure. So we're kind of back here asking kind of like, what we would like to do is demolish the entire facility now because we have no place to move the historic structure. And so we're kind of here for an informal discussion to get a little feedback from this committee before we come back to you formally, if we have to come back to you formally. One of the questions I have is if since the demolition delay was imposed in 2023, have we served our time? Or does the fact that we came back to you in March of 2024 with a new development, it's kind of like, where are we? How do we go procedurally, and kind of a little bit of feedback on what we would like to do, which is a complete demolition at this point.
Sure. It's quite a saga, huh?
Yes.
I mean, I appreciate all the efforts that have been made, I must say, right up front. I will defer ultimately to staff Erica Brown, but my impression is that your March hearing pretty much put a stop to, evaporated the validity, what have you, the power of the demolition delay. I think it erased that from the books as far as I can see. And I think we began a new process with the March hearing, which will terminate in March of 2026 as a 2-year run on our findings without a renewed hearing to either modify or reaffirm it. And I think in any case, you probably need to come back to us one more time for a formal hearing and vote. This is a chance to talk about that in advance, which I think is excellent, and I appreciate it. I want to say off the top of my head, and I certainly want to hear from commissioners, I don't know what other, and Nancy, you've had more experience with these things than I have, but I don't know what other avenues or alternatives might be available to pursue or worthy of pursuit that you haven't already tried. You've certainly done a lot, and that's why I started by saying I appreciate that very much. Vice Chairman Shoemaker, sorry to catch you in the middle of a
Sorry.
sneeze or a cough there,
I
but do
know.
you have any thoughts on this? I mean, you were
As
you were
I'm
the
hearing
chair of
all
the
of this,
commission when the March
yeah,
vote actually was taken that time, so I'm remembering that.
as I'm hearing all of this, I drive by it and I always think, oh, thank heavens it's still around. But
Yeah.
one more possibility is to talk to Protect Our Past. Do you know of that organization?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
So we can direct you to them if there's a
Yeah.
chance they could be helpful. They're a non-preservation, not private preservation nonprofit based in Chatham. They are regional, Cape-wide
Yeah.
in their interests, and they're interested in being problem solvers and motivated towards the preservation result when it's possible. I don't know if they'll be able to solve anything for this property, but I think it's a good suggestion, Nancy. I don't think they'll take any real time to do that. They will probably know right off the bat whether they would have any ideas of a way to help or not. Ellen Briggs is the principal of it, and
Yeah.
she has a vice president, Fred Eckert, who's nationally known, if not internationally known, as a house right and preservation specialist, and he lives on the Cape, so he should be able to, give an answer pretty fast whether there's any possibility whatsoever. They have been involved in some of the solutions that were found down in Harwich and elsewhere for some of the places that have been in the news in the last year that looked like they were going to be demolished and have been saved. So they have a good track record. That's a great suggestion.
Does anybody have contact information for them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do, and we can get that to you easily. I don't have it
Thank
right
you.
in front of me, but that's,
We'll
yes,
give it to
absolutely.
Erica, I think, right? That would be best.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, that would work. Okay. Erica, do you have a thought about my initial response on the story on the demolition delay versus the March vote and, what the procedural pathway is here?
Yeah, you are correct. It will have to be a new notice of intent. Both of the decisions, regardless, even the 2023 decision, the commission in the E-code does have a statement that states the commission's determination shall be in effect for 24 months from the date of the determination filing with the town clerk. After 24 months have it elapsed, a new determination shall be required. So we are going to need a new determination on a full demolition regardless. But that's not to say if you can't find a solution between you when you file.
What's the procedure though? Do we apply to modify or do we simply file a new notice and proceed with request for full demo?
I would file a new notice and proceed to request the full demo.
We will
I agree.
reach out to Protect Our Past first, and
Thank
we'll
you.
report back to you as well.
Thank you. I think that's worth doing. I don't think it'll slow you down. I think
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
we appreciate
we
the
would love
earnest.
to find a place for this.
No, I appreciate that. Well, you can see a good part of the community does love the building. It's awkward finding a spot. And we know there's tremendous competition for, well, as much competition for real estate space as there is on the water sheet for boats. It's a kind of, there are too many of us these days for the amount of room there is, I guess is what it boils down to.
Can I
Alrighty.
make it clear to what I believe we had voted on? And that was at the front section, kind of like vestibule, but much bigger than just a vestibule. That was the part that, I don't know if everyone realizes that was going to be moved, we hope. Isn't that correct, Erica?
Yeah, that's
Right.
correct. And that helps
I
some of
wasn't
the
sure everyone
newer
was
commissioners.
understanding that. And we had given you permission to remove everything to the north of that.
Yeah, we
Right.
haven't done that because it was tied to the approval. The way I read the decision, it was tied to the approval to move that facility. And once that fell apart, I didn't think we were within the spirit of the decision to go ahead and do that.
I appreciate your caution on that. I think I would have read it that way too if I had been in your situation, Attorney Kenny. I think that was probably correct. So, commissioners, any further thoughts? Jack, you were involved in this originally too, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth discussing, but there are quite a few fellows around now that are doing soft demolitions. And what they're doing is they're harvesting all the material because it is the old school material. And they will not pay for it, but they'll soft demo it and keep and reuse all the antique wood.
Do you have access to individuals who are active in this area and doing that? Because You know, to me, it sounds like a fabulous idea. It's resource preservation, if not the actual
Mhm.
building preservation. Protect Our Past is an advocate for this as well. But Commissioner Richmond, you've commented a couple of times, there's not really a market for the old wood, so there aren't people willing for profit to offer space and storage and warehousing and what have you. So it's really a question of whether there's a not-for-profit organization probably willing to intervene to accept the leavings, albeit by soft demolition for a portion of the structure to make that work.
Can I
I don't
just
know
say
enough
that,
about it.
Bob?
Yeah.
Oh, that was my experience, but Jack has so many more contacts and experience than I do that if he knows someone, if he can find a way, that's awesome.
Well, I feel the same way, Jack. I mean, if you can noodle it a little bit and come up with some firm suggestions, perhaps you can be doing that while these folks are reaching out to POP, and we'll have further information, so we're not holding anyone up. If it's a suggestion that could work into an eventual full demolition, it might be a helpful and gentler way to lose a building we're trying, all of us, to find some way to save. That seem reasonable,
I'd be
sir?
happy to do that.
Great.
I'm friendly with the owner of Stonewood Products, and they deal with some wood as well, and I can reach out
There
to
you go.
Anthony and
Thank
ask
you.
him to
That's a
take
nice
a look.
suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a customer there. I know sorts of things they have. So no, but that's valid. I mean, a lot of it's not all first growth, but it's old growth material is on the hoof there for sure. Nice to see.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, I'm sorry. Roberto, yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
So,
you did great.
couple questions about that. So,
Mhm.
on the interior of the vestibule, for example, they have drywall, they have some finishes. For us to show some of these guys interest in wood, can we remove that drywall, remove all that stuff, and leave it on the bare wood? That's one of the questions that I have.
Mhm.
The second question will be like the windows. The windows, definitely someone probably could be interested on those windows because those are nice windows. You know what I'm saying? Even though one of the windows was already broken by homeless that we put a plywood on it. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys saw it over there. So
Yeah, sorry about that.
nah. So that's another question that I have. The third question is this: so to move that structure anywhere, we couldn't just get the vestibule and move it, put on top of the truck. We have to cut it in pieces. Like,
Yeah.
for example, remove one wall, the other wall, probably the roof in like 2 or 3 parts,
Yep.
and put it on a flat bed, and then move it somewhere to put it, like a puzzle.
Right.
So our question will be like, in that case, we could remove that partial of that church, wrap it like a boat. They have those wraps
Mhm.
until we find a place as well. We could do that and keep trying to find a place, so that won't delay us from doing anything over there. Like, we can offer to the places that you guys just suggested. We can go to Stonewood. We can even advertise it, if we want. You know what
No,
I'm
that's a
saying?
nice offer.
So,
I appreciate you're looking for ways to kind of meet us all in the middle somewhere on this, and everybody kind of keeps going in a forward direction. So yeah.
yeah. So
I
that's just another question that I have. If we could cut it in, like I said, in pieces and wrap it like a boat, you know what I'm saying? And even
It's
leave it on the job site. I can bring it to my warehouse over here, and until we find a place.
Yeah.
So that it's just not slowing down what we need, like,
Sure. I understand. There's a term for that in the trade of preservation called flaking it, and the trick is to be doing it in a way that is move and preservation kindly, as opposed to just expedient, which I think you understand, but it'd be silly not to say it out loud. Jack, your thoughts on something like that as a kind of a midway plan for? We can't do that right this minute, but maybe we could
No,
do
of
that
course, yeah.
after the next hearing time is what I'm thinking. I mean, that's still, that's like your soft demolition. It's better than instantly losing the whole thing if we haven't reached a point where we feel we've utterly exhausted all of our possibilities. And we might have gotten to that point by then, but due diligence isn't always speedy. We've got the holiday season in the middle of all this right now.
Yeah.
And winter doesn't help either. It doesn't help what you guys want to do any more than it helps people's
And
imagination.
remember, this is the vestibule is the only thing I think we would
Yeah,
need.
I agree. And the comment
Yep.
about windows is well made. I mean, the windows are elements that are highly characteristic of what's valuable visually about the building. And, maybe somebody would be willing to adopt or embrace the windows as a part of
We
some
already had
process.
people asking for, but
Have
we
you?
couldn't let them,
Yep.
say, no, you guys can come and take the windows because, it was part of the piece of the church. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? Like, so,
Thank you for
but
that.
there was
But
already one person that stopped by one day and asked for,
well, that's
you know,
encouraging. I mean, under these
so
circumstances. So, I mean,
yeah,
hopefully people are still interested in that sort of thing. It sounds like they would be. And they're
yeah,
spectacularly nice windows
those
too. So
windows are nice. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It'd be hard to build something like that today.
So like when you speak about soffit demo, for example, we can demo and then like save all the wood, if we
Mhm.
have to do that, because we have carpenters in-house that we do that, and just stuff like that. We just try to find ways also to preserve and
No, we appreciate
continue
that.
doing what we want to do. So
Sure.
that's all.
Well, and to be sure that you understand, and I think you do, I can tell you do by what you're saying and how you're saying it, but I want to say out loud again for the record, the reason we're interested in the materials is in most cases, we're not talking about moldings and finished surfaces. We're talking about structural components. It's because the timber was harvested at a time in American history when it
Sure.
was not old growth, but it was much better than the materials you can buy off the rack today, which is like juked on speed growth hormones to make it grow to timber category faster, and it's just not as strong or as long lasting. And it's
That's
so it's
one of
valuable.
like, if we can expose that, like I said, on the inside, and then if it's lumber that we can reuse on that same construction, is that something that could also be done? Like, but I don't know what's there. So that's my question about removing all that drywall, looking what's there. If it's the lumber we can reuse on that same construction, we're willing to use that again. If we, like maybe like build the wall, like something on those buildings,
Again, though, and just remind everyone that I think we will allow you to, or maybe they already are allowed to do any of that with the massive part of the building. But I mean, that was the original church, right?
Yeah.
Erica,
Yeah, the vestibule was the portion that was moved
and
from
I'd love to still hold out hope for finding a home for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, but most of what we're talking about now is sort of post the next hearing, at which time we'll know whether we're preserving that vestibule building or whether we're permitting a full demolition, and then maybe the soft demolition or some reuse of some components on site, or the opportunity for the windows to be removed and reused elsewhere. It'd be lovely if they stayed in Hyannis and people could celebrate where they came from, but that's a little bit, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves there, I think, with that. Did we sort of answer your questions, Roberto? I hope. I appreciate your ideas very much, by the way.
Yeah, I think so can I expose the interior? That's one of the main things. If I can expose to, the interior, because that the drywall was going to break it anyways.
Yeah.
We have to, like you said, basically it's just the structure that we're interested on it, right?
Well, I don't think you'd be able to physically move it somewhere without doing what you're just saying anyway.
Yeah.
If we can all agree on that, then, while we're not voting on anything specifically here, because this is an informal conversation, I don't see you removing drywall and exposing the structure within even the vestibule being detrimental to the ultimate goal of either moving and saving the building or saving the timber or saving the windows. Do the rest of you guys agree with me? Is that?
Drywall is not an antique material.
No,
That's
drywall
right,
is drywall is a modern treatment, no question.
I just want to it's better to ask than just do it,
Yeah.
If the structure was exposed, it would certainly show its favor pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't think I haven't heard any commissioners with an objection, Roberto, to stripping the interior of the vestibule and exposing the frame. And, then everybody will know better what it is that we're really talking about in there, whether it's to move it or whether it's to save the timber or whether it's to remove just the windows and try and find someone who would make a good new use for them. But it opens up the alternatives and maybe shortens the pathway in terms of timeline for you guys just a little bit, and still leaves us looking to
Can I make a
POP
request?
and yeah.
Could I come and take a picture of the interior before you do anything else?
Oh, that's a nice idea.
Anytime you guys want to get in there, just let us know,
Thank you very
Erica
much,
can give
Roberto.
me
And
your contact information and I'll.
Nancy's a good photographer, and in over the years, she's often photo documented buildings that were likely to be demolished or had already been approved for demolition as a way of recording what they were. And
Okay,
it's a nice step. So thank you.
that's fine.
That's great.
Are there any
Attorney-
other organizations besides Protect Our Past that we might reach out to?
Historic New England, which is based in Plymouth now, might be a way to expose the opportunity to have this building available a little further. I don't know if they have an active program for doing that. I know they have participated in the 10 most endangered kind of concepts, but I think we're a little beyond that point. We don't want something that takes forever. That's an ad campaign. I think it'd be more a case of whether they have access to resources that might be like POP individually that could help. But yeah, Historic New England.
Another one would be Santuit Cotuit Historical Society. Because it's the
Possibly.
building built there. I mean, I
Yeah.
doubt that but
Well,
they're-
they won't have the capacity themselves, but they might have a
monetarily.
deep-pocketed
Yeah.
member who with a piece of real estate. You never know. It'd be kind of ironic to move it back to Cotuit and restore it there, but it's not insane. We'll think some more and try and get as many opportunities to you, Attorney Kenny, really quickly as we can, just in the next couple of days. And then we'll figure we've done that and you can pursue any you can reach and see what we come up with. Okay.
Great. We're going to try to get our application in for your next meeting in January.
Yes.
So
And Erica, what's the
quickly.
deadline for applications for the January?
I think it was the
hearing?
23rd of December.
Yeah, it's pretty
Correct.
soon, which is why I wanted to say that out loud. So, but it shouldn't be too complicated to do. You're going to basically do a rerun of your first one, I think. I'm not trying to do your
Correct.
job for you. You
No,
figure
that's
that out, but try and keep it simple.
But we
Okay.
will reach out to each of those organizations.
Thank you. We're grateful for the effort that's been put in, and thank you all who are owners and interested in it too, for trying hard to make this work. I'm sorry that the other and first alternative kind of, I'll just use the pejorative, blew up in your faces somehow. It didn't work.
Yeah.
It's a shame. But thank you for trying.
You're welcome.
Looked like it was
Nancy,
going to
if
be
you-
a tight fit, as a matter of fact. I remember driving by there after the approval for that, and I had seen the plan of which way it was going to face, and the facade of the building was actually going to face the motel behind it rather than the street of Lincoln Road. I mean, there were some things about how it was going to stick on there that left us happy it was being saved, but a little frustrated that it wasn't an optimum location either. So
Yeah,
maybe-
we felt the same way. It was
Yeah.
hard to fit it on that site, frankly. And
Oh, I believe
there's
it.
going to be zoning relief required, I think, as well.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear you say that. Jack, did you have a question, Jack Kay?
No, I was just writing John Kenny's name down. So
Oh, okay. I could see you coming in and squinting at the screen. I want to make sure you weren't trying to say something.
No,
Well,
thank you.
I think we're in good order then on this conversation. If you folks are content with leaving it as it is, we have some things in progress at each end. We'll get you some resource names to try,
Okay.
like POP, and the contact information through Erica. She'll reach out to you with that. And you work on your application for the 23rd filing deadline. And
All right.
we know there's that. And Roberto, thank you for your good questions and for your ideas. And I
No,
think
you're welcome. Thank you, guys.
created a little room with
Nancy,
that
I don't
too,
know if
so.
you can, if you want to take some pictures and then we could do it this week if you're available. Just so I can next week kind of start exposing. I know it's a short week next week, but I want to start exposing that interior if I can.
Well, again, Erica will give me your contact info and I'm sure we can arrange something.
Yeah.
Of course. Yep. That's great. I
That
appreciate
sounds
it.
good. Yeah, I understand it. What makes you say it's a short week next week? Yes, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
that's right. Yeah.
It's that crazy time of year. I mean, every week
You
feels like a short week this
Maybe
time of
thought
year
a
to
little
all of
bit.
us. All righty. Well, again, thank you all very much.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good
Appreciate
night.
it.
Cheers. Thank you,
Good
Attorney
night.
Kenny. Cheers. Good night.
Bye.
All righty. Next on our agenda, I'm going to skip events of historical interest open to the public just for a moment so that while we're still here in the room, we could perhaps vote to approve our minutes of October 21st, 2025 and of November 18th, 2025. Would everybody be willing to engage in that exercise?
Sure.
Sure.
Could I have a motion to accept and approve the minutes of both of those months all at once, and we'll just do one vote?
So moved, Jack.
And a second?
I'll
Seconded.
second it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll for the vote?
Certainly. Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
I have to abstain from the October 21st meeting because I wasn't here.
Okay, that's fair.
But I on the November meeting.
Sure, thank you. A bifurcated vote. I like that.
Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and John Richmond, aye.
So we have approved the minutes, and thank you all very much for that. And are there any matters of historical interest, upcoming events open to the public that we should hear about? Nancy, you're usually our village crier on this subject, so I'm going to go straight to you.
Shiny. Yeah, we've had lectures incredibly about the American Revolution and Cape Cod's
Yeah.
role, just constantly. And since the book came out, we're doing a second printing. It's off flying off the shelves, which is interesting and wonderful. I just want to see people appreciate our history and who knew all the things, especially people don't know about the Otis family. Yeah, we have quite a few things coming up also, but I think I'll leave it at that and tell you more of them in January.
That's fine. I will say that the various town councilors and the town managers weekly e-news are pretty good at leaking out information specific to these kinds of events, increasingly, and much more this time of year, it seems, than any other, which is great. So if people keep an eye out for them on that form of media, I think it will help them tremendously. I don't believe we have anything else on the agenda. Erica, am I correct? I want to say that our next meeting is January 20th, 2026 in the Happy New Year. Again, it will be a Zoom. And Nancy, please connect through Erica with the gentleman who's interested in helping you get in to take the photos as best you can. I know you will.
Yeah.
It's a little bit complicated working this through, but it does sound like they've done a lot of work to try and make something happen that just couldn't. More than many have in the past, in fact, is all I really want to say to their credit.
And yet it's
they're
not a
giving up
large
yet.
building. There's hope for, I still think there's hope for finding a home for it. We'll
There
see.
might be. There's no reason to give up yet, but the timing's getting pretty short for
Yeah, I understand.
dealing with that. To Roberto's credit, his comment that they're going to need to strip the interior before they could flake it. They're going to need to flake it before they could move it. If he would be willing to go to the flaking stage and wrap it up in some secure way off-site, buying it a little more time for a relocation, that's all to the good. And if we can cooperate with them enough to help them keep their timeline moving forward, we'll probably have a better result from their efforts as well. I mean, it's going to be a cooperative thing. So,
It just reminds me of Pleasant Street and how we saved that house and we saved it for affordable housing.
yeah.
We didn't think we had a chance of doing anything. So
No,
it's
I know.
good
You
to
never
not
know when there'll be
give
a
up.
happy surprise.
Yeah.
And although the scale of this is a little challenging, even though it's, we call it just the vestibule, it's
Yeah.
pretty
Well,
large.
it is more, it was the original church.
I
It's
know.
more-
That's my point too. It's still a big deal. So it'll be hard for someone to get their arms around that. But your idea of reaching to the Katuitt and Santuit Historical Society, maybe.
Yeah.
I can reach out to Phil Odens, who's been always very interested in subjects of this kind, and see if he knows anybody. We have contacts there. Okay. If nobody has anything else.
Yep, I do.
Oh, sorry. Go.
Just, I guess, real quickly, the Hyannis Historical Society has started a newsletter, which we took the liberty of sending to a couple of you.
And thank you. That's really good.
Hopefully you like that. And anyone else who is interested, just let us know. And for Nancy, I actually have video of the interior of that church, which I can send to you.
Oh, John, that's a treasure.
Well, you'll see. Anyway, I will send that to you. I did that before the church had vacated, when this all came up. That's all.
Great.
Thank you. Oh, that's
and I will have to recuse myself from your considerations about this church.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's all.
We should make a pledge now to make sure one way or another we endeavor to have a quorum available for that vote in January, though, noting that John will not be able to participate. So we're down by one in advance. We know it. Just kind of putting that out there. If we needed to let Cheryl know on an alert, she might be able to, put in an appearance to be there for that vote too, if we need it. It depends on what you guys are all up to. Okay.
Mhm.
So given all of that, I would be happy to accept a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
And second, and I think we need a roll call vote.
Yep, coming up. Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Hi.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Andrew Fisher,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
John Richmond, aye.